Went to West Point, which is not on the list of America's top party schools, but definitely a really good education in terms of, you want to talk two topics that are relevant right now, like leadership and resilience.
All right, we got Mike Figliuolo here with us today. Mike, good to see you.
Good to be seen.
For the context for everyone, we got Mike is the partner, principal, CEO, founder of ThoughtLEADERS. I was thinking about your background and other folks I've known who've gone to West Point, and I wonder, does that is part of the design of the training is that you're going to see these crisis modes happening all around you if you're in combat battle, in prep for battle. In West Point, how do you feel like they were specifically designing to this crisis mode?
Yeah, I think a lot of your training, it comes in two ways in terms of applicability today. One is the immediate stress response of dealing with a crisis and how do you react and what do you do. The second is the mindset for the longer slog that we're in for, which is, hey, I'm an entrepreneur. Revenue has dried up, right? I mean, I run a leadership training firm where I fly to client locations and I teach classes of 15 to 35 people for a full day. Well, we're not traveling, we're not teaching, we're not doing in-person stuff. So all of a sudden the calendar is clear. And, that's going to be a long slog, and that's hard to deal with. So I think those are the two things that I got prepared for at the academy and in the service. I think the way it shows up is from the crisis side. I don't know how this was sort of ingrained in us. I think it's just repetition and drill of being under constant stressful, in constant stressful situations. And the mindset you have is as soon as something happens, it's just you take the breath, you make sure you're okay, and then every distraction just gets pushed out. And there's this laser-like focus on here's the issue at hand, and you just shut everything down. And emotions are part of that, right? It's like there is action that needs to happen right now. Then you get through it and you have that moment of clarity of here's the issue, here are the tasks that need to be done, get the assignments out, make them happen. And then after it all finishes, that's when you break down. And probably the most pointed reminder of this that I've ever had, or example of it, is my dog. One time we were down at a family member's farm, and we were getting ready to leave, and all of a sudden the dog yelps, and I go running over, and a feral cat had cut him wide open across his chest. And, it was pretty gory, and, kids are screaming, families screaming, everybody's flipping out. And it was just this moment of clarity of, okay, everybody shut up. You get in the car, you get a towel, you get some rags, you find out where the vet clinic is, and everybody shut up. And as we're going, people start screaming again, shut up. There's one focus right now, and that is keeping that dog calm and me doing 95 miles an hour down the freeway. And then, get to the vet clinic at noon, pound on the door. They're like, we're at lunch. I'm like, no, you're not. I'm like, you're taking this dog. As soon as they took him away and my part of the emergency was done, I lost it. I mean, I'm just this mess of tears and just oh my God, my dog. And right. But that moment of clarity when the crisis hit, to be able to shut everything else out and just focus on the task.
I wonder if right now part of it is there's leadership we're looking for, which we were talking about, and then followership. Being able to be a follower, and an active follower means stay at home. That's what we're asking you to do. And I feel like that's not something we talk about as how do I be an active participant by just being an active follower? You guys think about that?
A lot of it is being able to say, all right, what is the higher mission? What's the higher goal? And how do I fit into it? So even, when I was a young second lieutenant, I had my tank platoon and I was the leader of that unit, but I was one platoon in an entire brigade with hundreds of other platoons. And you got to understand where you fit in terms of how your role contributes to the higher levels mission, right? And we very much had guiding principles and mission focus versus task focus. So task focus is go take that hill. Mission focus is, hey, we've got to break through the enemy line and your job is to protect the flank. Now, if the bad guys are on the hill, then obviously you have consistency of message. But if the bad guys are on another hill and you're task focused and say, I need to take that hill, well, you just blew the mission because you didn't protect the flank. So I think the better you can understand, here's how I can contribute to that broader whole, it makes it have meaning, right? Because a lot of people right now, I'm sure, are saying, well, I got to stay at home. I don't like this. I don't like my kids, and my dogs are loud, and and they're just complaining. And why are they doing this to me? And what you've got to do is contextualize it and say, well, what are we trying to achieve? Which is minimize the spread of this thing, have it be over as fast as possible so we can get back to work and get back to normal. And by the way, save a lot of people's lives in the process. I mean, this thing is, literally killing people. So when you understand that that's the higher level goal and say, all right, my contribution to it can be, I may be a carrier of it, and maybe me just staying home is going to keep 5 or 10 or 20 people from getting it. That's my contribution. And then it's like, I can now rationalize that, really just accept that you're part of this too. And once you do, again, it gets a lot easier. And then you can move to that more productive mindset, which is that other thing I learned at West Point, because West Point is just a 4-year suck. I mean, every day it's like you wake up and go, here we go again. It's like, all right, I just got to make it through today. Sometimes it was, I got to make it through the next hour. And you just set these small milestones for yourself. And you're not thinking like graduation 4 years from now. It's just too remote. It's too abstract. It's like, I got to get through Friday. Like, today's Thursday. I want to make it to the weekend, and that's it. And what am I going to do to be productive today? And when you do that, all of a sudden you do it long enough and you realize, oh, look, I'm graduating, and it is 4 years later. Yeah. This is the same thing.